Okay. Board members, everybody good? Yep. Mr. McCown?
Yes.
Okay. I asked everybody and my computer went to sleep, so. And let me get it back up here real fast. Okay, good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 9th, 2024 Ward County Board of Education meeting. At this time, it is time for our Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to ask Mrs. Moore to lead us in pledge. Mrs. Moore. We know, I knew I'd get you stopped talking somehow. Okay? Okay, at this time, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Any corrections, comments, concerns? Here none. We have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye. Oh, aye. Sorry.
Want to go through the changes? Yeah.
Go through the change. Oh, there are several.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm backing up. Moving this along. Okay, let's take a look at the changes. Okay, under employment. Under number 2, we have a name, Marie Hedges. Number 3, Stephanie Halstead. Number 4, Kelly Darty. Number 5, Kelly Darty. Number 6, Michelle Strimmel. And then 7, 8, and 9 have been crossed out and will be brought back for consideration at a later date. And then under reduction in force and transfers, I have names, okay, but we'll wait till we actually get into that point, make sure nobody turns up for a hearing before we get there, okay? And I'll put the names in. Did I miss anything in my hurry? I don't think so. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, before we go any further, usually don't do this, but want to recognize Mr. Mills, a former Ward County Board of Education member and teacher in Ward County Schools, and his wife Marlon, longtime teacher, but Mr. Mills was on the board for several years. Okay, at this time we have recognitions of the archery team and Clayton Mills, the state archery champion. Mr. McCown.
So I'll have the archery coaches to come up and talk a little bit about their season and some of the highlights, not the least of which is we have a state archery champion with us that we're honoring here tonight.
Well, thanks for having us. Jennifer's not here. She had everything planned out to say, but she's the brains of the operation. She keeps us together. But yeah, so this year we actually qualified 3 for the state tournament: Brooke Cross, Megan Cutler, and Clayton Mills. And Brooke finished 9th in the state, which is really impressive. Obviously, Megan finished 9th, which is really impressive because it's not split up into single A, double A, all that. So they essentially shoot against every kid in the state. So she, beat all but 8 kids in the state. And Clayton obviously won the state championship. He's first ever state champion in archery. Ended up with a 293. And the closest kid to him was a 289. So he won it by 4 points.
So if you could explain to those that don't know what a big deal that score is, if they're not familiar with archery scoring, what does it take to get that score?
Sure. Yeah, so a perfect score is 300. They shoot 6 total scoring rounds, 5 arrows each. Each arrow is worth 10 points. So Clayton in the state tournament shot 3 perfect scores, 2 49s out of 50, and 1 45. So it's actually even a little more impressive than the score sounds. So and he, I think his highest score in a tournament was a 294, is that correct? For the year. So he almost shot his highest score at the state tournament, which is really hard to do because there's a lot of nerves involved. the very beginning, so that's 5 years of shooting, correct? Yeah. So Connor McCown and Caden Weigel have been with us since the very beginning. They shot all the way through. We got some nice plaques to acknowledge that. And also Allie Kirby and Brooke Cross were first year this year, and Brooke obviously made it to state, so I wish we'd had her a couple years earlier. But yeah, so we certainly appreciate everything the board has done for us. We couldn't do it without the bus. Obviously, 38 kids fills up a bus pretty much, especially when you throw all those bows and equipment and all that in there, arrows. So we absolutely couldn't do it without the bus and the meals and everything that the school provides for us. And I'm so proud of all of them. We've had multiple top 10 finishers throughout the year. Megan won a tournament, has placed in multiple tournaments. Clayton, out of 7 tournaments we shot in, has won. He's won 5. So it was a really good year, and archery's really taken off. Everywhere across the state, archery has taken off. It's so much more competitive than it was even 4 years ago. I'm sure you've seen just for your son's done. When it used to be a 280 was in the top 5. Now 280 they don't even get a look. It's really gotten competitive. It's really taken off. The great part about it, anybody can do it. We've had kids that are involved in every sport, and we've had kids that don't do anything else. So it's one of the safest sports. Knock on wood, so far there's never been an accident in the country with archery, and we want to continue that trend. Probably more than anything with our kids, I'm more proud of the fact that they are one of the best groups that we've ever had as far as behavior. We always have coaches come up to us and comment about how polite and how kind and how helpful. We've never had any behavioral issues at all. So the team as a whole has been great. Work County high school, middle school kids are awesome. They do a great job for us and everywhere we take them. And I can't even think of all the times we've had other coaches and other parents come up to us and say, hey, my kid was having trouble, and one of your students, kind of talked to him a little bit, got him calmed down, and we had one that was on the verge of tears, and one of our kids just kind of patted him on the shoulder and got him calmed down, and and actually that parent came to me after the shoot and thanked us for that. So I'm probably more proud of that than anything. But Clay, you want to say anything?
Well, it wasn't too many years ago at a board meeting that we got the archery thing off the ground and running, and I'm delighted to see you back with the achievements that you all have accomplished. So thank you for all of your work.
Yeah.
Now, these guys are going to the national, right?
Yes. So anyone that finishes in the top 10 in the state goes to the Eastern Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. I think we're scheduled for May 10th is when we're shooting down there. So once you get to that level, we start to talk about scholarships and stuff like that provided by NASP, National Archery in Schools Program. And then if they were to finish in the top 10 of that, then they would actually qualify to go to the Nationals. We're kind of like the world. And it's in Daytona Beach, and it's in June. So it's pretty exciting. I'm super proud of all of them, and thanks for having us, and thanks for your support.
Thank
I
you.
remember correctly, thank your dad for every bit. I think it was his idea, way back on the board. I think that was his idea to have this archery meeting, and it's blossomed a lot
Yes.
since then.
Yeah, it really has. And actually, this year, we got rid of the last of the original arrows that were bought, but that they pitched in the money for way back when he was still on the board. And so we just got rid of those arrows, which is pretty phenomenal because generally arrows don't last that long. So that was we had some of the old ones with the glue on nocks and all that stuff, and we just got rid of those this year. So yeah, but
All right, let's take an opportunity to get a picture for the paper.
sure thing.
We appreciate you coming out, and Clayton, good luck. You and Megan, right? Yep. Okay. Good luck to you guys in Eastern National, right? Okay. We will be glad to have you back. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're down to information, and the first one is monthly attendance report. Mr. McCown.
So Mr. Smith is with us, and the first item of information he's going to share with us is our monthly attendance report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McCown. Thank you, Mr. Metz. Okay. First of all, since I brought the last attendance report in February, we've had 37 5-day letters sent out to households. I just did a combination March and April attendance report today. Work County Schools average attendance as of April 3rd was 93.2% at the primary center, 93% at the middle school, 92% at the high school, and 92.7% at the district level total. As far as year-to-date attendance rates, as of April 3rd, the primary center was at 92.2%, middle school was at 91.8%, high school was at 91.9%, and the district was at 92% year-to-date. Year-to-date chronically absent students, as of April 3rd, primary center 23%, middle school 23.2%, high school is at 26.7%, and the district is at 24.3%. With Mrs. Moore here, this would be a perfect time. I'd like to thank her for all that her and Ty have both done, and her focus is with the chronically absenteeism at the high school, and I think that we're making strides. I mean, it's not going to be fixed overnight, but I think with her help, those numbers have went down some. I hope that continues throughout the year. District enrollment by school and district. The primary center is at 341. Middle school's at 262, high school's at 278, district-wide we have an enrollment at 881. District enrollment in comparison to the February narrative was a decrease of 2 students. The primary center remained the same. Middle school decreased by 1 student, and the high school decreased from 1 student since the last time I met with you all. And as far as enrollment, pre-K was at 62, kindergarten at 54, first grade at 49, second grade at 54, third grade at 64, fourth grade at 58, fifth grade at 55, sixth grade at 68, seventh grade at 74, eighth grade at 65, ninth grade at 67, 10th grade at 75, 11th grade at 67, and 12th grade at 69 for a total enrollment of 881. Anyone have any questions on that? Actually, the attendance improved in comparison when I was looking at the statistics. From the February narrative that I gave, it improved a little bit overall, and our year-to-date rate has improved probably by a percentage across the board, so that's a good thing anytime we can improve. So, anyone have any questions on any of that?
Questions from Mr. Smith?
Okay.
There are none. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, next one is the safety meeting and minutes. Mr. McCown.
So we did have a safety meeting that we need to update the board on that. And if Mr. Smith and Mr. Moore, whichever one of you wants to tag team on, if you want to tag team on that, you're pointing at Jeff, so I'm assuming it's going to be good. But we did have that, and there was some discussion, and I'll let Mr. Smith share that with you. But Don Brown, that used to be Wood County Schools Safety Director, has a new job, which is the school safety at the state level. And I'll let Mr. Smith elaborate on that, but he was able to attend the last meeting and share some information.
Okay. What I thought I would do, Mr. McCown, is I was going to go through a couple of these related to Mr. Brown, and I'll let Curtis elaborate on what his doings with Mr. Brown and how we think he'll be an asset to our schools and such. First of all, Mr. Brown introduced himself at the safety meeting. He's a representative for Region 1, which will include 132 schools. He explained that he'll assist the schools with all crisis response drills, including active shooter, tornado, and flood drills. And also, Mr. Brown detailed the Fusion Liaison Officer Program, which we're nominating Curtis, and I thought that would be a good opportunity. Can you summarize what our dealings have been? They've all been positive with Curtis Nyham so far.
Yeah, basically, Mr. Brown, he's an enforcement officer. He's going to make sure we do what we're supposed to do. He's going to come in, he's going to come to the school and do a site assessment and a threat assessment to tell us, if our doors is open in the right direction, if our windows should be this way, just anything, lighting, staircases where the cameras ought to be, anything related is definitely going to be a wealth of knowledge. He's helped me and Jeff out in the past. We can call him when he was at Wood County, he'd answer it, and he's got resources everywhere. I think it's going to be a really, really, really positive thing for us. Very, very nice gentleman.
And something else, Curtis. I know Curtis and I have just got to touch the surface on this. I nominated Curtis for this position here as liaison. Kind of explain what the Fusion Center, what all they do.
It's basically just everybody with any knowledge of any safety related in the whole, not even the state, it's a federal program. They'll give us updates on people that's in our area that we ought to be looking out for, anything like that. Any safety related federal anything. Anybody that's got out of jail that we should know about, somebody that's coming through our area, somebody that's been released that we ought to know about. And it's like I say, it's huge, and there's thousands of people involved. I think I have to go to maybe one or two meetings a year in person, and the rest of them will go on the computer. But it seems like a very, very good program. And Mr. Brown's wanting every safety director that he's over to kind of join this here. I think he's got 4 or 5 counties, maybe, is what he's got.
And could grow.
Yeah, he's located at the Capitol. He's actually a Capitol police officer, is what they consider him now. But yeah, it's going to be exciting, I reckon. Interesting, anyway.
So essentially, they just keep us abreast of any cutting edge information nationwide, like Curtis was elaborating on. Now, something else, Curtis is staying here, so something else that was discussed at the meeting, and we've discussed this in a couple of board meetings. I just summarized the fact that we discussed the reason why we chose the buzzer system at the board office and the library, and why we chose that process. Curtis elaborated on that at the meeting, but I'll let him do this at the board meeting as well, like he did with the safety committee. So if you would.
I know we've discussed that we want a man trap. Well, a true man trap, 5 years ago, me and Mr. Smith checked on one, $150,000 5 years ago. That's before COVID, before anything. Board office, you couldn't do a true man trap. There's 4 doors on the board office. There's a big window in the front, a man trap. I mean, it would keep somebody in there, but we don't have the money for that. So we went with the buzzer system. Devonna can sit there, and I've got her a door that she can see through that we're going to put in, and she can see who's there, buzz them in or out, just keep them out. But as far as keeping them out of the building, I mean, there's 4 other doors, there's a big window. A man trap there is just, unless we build a whole new building, is just almost impossible. Library could be a little better. There's only 2 ways in or out. But then still, we have so much trouble getting somebody to come in and give us a bid. I mean, we can't get anybody to show up to give us a price on things. So, not saying it's a temporary fix, but as of something now, we're actually going to get them where the girls have got to buzz them in. When you go out, for fire marshal reasons, you just can't have a door locked. So you have to have some way to get out. So the kids in some of our buildings, when they get within 5 feet of the door, a sensor senses and the door unlocks so they can get out. Well, that's good for the schools, but it ain't good if you want to keep somebody out, because if they come to the door, you go to see them, then you automatically unlock the door for them. So the kids and the public's actually going to have to hit a button to get out, which is all right with the fire marshal, and it's really not that expensive. We've got some different quotes. 2 was
Close around $10,000.
2 was $10,000 and 1 was $1,200. Yeah, so it'll take us forever to get all those the same. If it ain't apples for apples, you can't do it. This guy here is trying to save us money, but definitely we're not getting what we're going to get for $10,000. So it's a process. But that's why we can't truly do a man trap at either one right now. It's all money, as we all know. Library later on could happen if we can get some money. I know there's some free money out there and some programs. But board office, until there's a new building, there won't be a man trap, not a true man trap. We can keep them out of the front door, but if they truly want in that building, they can get in that building.
So it looks like, Curtis, is that you're going to put a new new door in,
Yes, sir.
and that door will be locked, and it will be a buzz system using the camera, so they won't have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Devon will be able to either unlock it from her desk, or she'll have an iPad, and she'll be able to see a camera on the iPad, and she can unlock it from the iPad. Now, that's basically...
Yeah, well, that's a big step forward.
Yeah, and the library will basically be, there'll be a button behind the counter where the girls is, they'll be able to visually see who it is and buzz them in. I know that ain't the fix you want, but that's about as good as we can get right
Well, as we talked in the safety meeting, none of our school entrances are true man
now.
traps.
Oh, no.
I mean, they're, they work that way, but they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're entering in, out, you buzz in to get
Yeah.
into the building, so.
Yeah. One window this big, it's bulletproof glass, is $600 uninstalled. It's just a piece of glass. That ain't nothing else, and it's very, very expensive. Like I say, 5 years ago it was $150,000, and that's before COVID and everything else. I would hate to imagine what it is now, but it's just so hard to get anybody to come and even give us a price on it.
Yeah.
How will the library work? The public, is coming also, so, how will they get buzzed in, or?
They would just walk up and they'd walk up to the door.
Well, but how will they go about that from the average Joe?
There'll just be a sign and a thing that says push the buzzer, or there'll be a microphone where they actually said we can actually put a PA system in where they can push it and speak to them. And the girl, she's right there most of the time. She's got an office right by the door, and then they're behind the counter.
Well, what I'm saying, how can you identify somebody that might be a shooter from anybody else coming up?
That'll just have to be Bree and the girls just visually checking who it is before they let. It's not the perfect fix, but
Right.
it's better than just anybody being able to walk in.
I was just curious how you would do that, like if somebody just, it's both the public and.
We've tried it at the middle and primary and high. There's visual recognition on our cameras. We can actually program it. If you come up to the door, it will tell me if you're wanted or if you've got anything else for you. We've actually got a little bit of that capability.
Could they have some sort of, like old days library card, what about something they could shoot and show?
Well,
They are,
Bree has asked about the kids and the public, if they've got a library card, if they can be a chip or something put in it, that we can do that. And we've discussed that with Casey, our tech guy. But that definitely is a possibility.
So
And
that-
everything we mention is money.
Right.
Everything we mention is just money. But yeah, that is a definite possibility.
Well,
Bree's actually asked about that.
Right, the reason I'm asking, the public and the kids being at the same time, they are allowed, how you want to differentiate,
Yeah.
just push a button and they say come in.
Yeah. Very few of our kids actually use the front entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few of them. Yeah.
But I'm just talking about the regular public people.
Yeah.
How would they go about it? I mean, that'd be, they just, like my next door neighbor, when he needs to go to the library at 10 o'clock, what do they do about to do that?
I don't know what they do about that.
Well, you better ring
So
the buzzer.
They would
You
have
know,
the
and-
ability to buzz them, and just like when
Yeah.
somebody comes up to the school and we don't know who they are,
Yeah.
we would ask them, who are they, and how can we help you? And they would have to identify themselves.
The other problem with the card would be was, hey Jeff, here's my card, go get in the library.
Well, it would be have to be a picture on it or something, I would think.
I don't know if we got anything that would identify the picture.
But, our board member cards is a picture of, or,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, things are going through my mind, being, it is a public library also, how you would be able to handle it.
Yeah, we might be able to reach out to maybe some of the other counties that maybe have something. Even Mr. Brown may be able to help us out on that. But yeah, facial recognition is a possibility. Because I know Casey had me the other day, and I walked to the front door, and he could tell it was me when I walked to the front door. Just on my picture, come right over who it was. And they have that with money. You can do if somebody's wanted or a felon or something like that. It'll tell you right on.
But being able to lock that door and control the access is a big step forward.
Yeah. I'd say our board office may be one of the only ones around that you don't have to
Oh,
buzz.
yes.
You don't have to buzz in to get into.
Yeah.
And without getting into particulars, Curtis, what would you say? 2 or 3 times in the last year we've been called to deal with troublesome
We've had a few issues that me and Mr. Smith's been called every name in the book over at the library. But yeah, we've had a few, and you know, as Wood County has announced, and I think Bobby, the mayor, has told us, you know, Wood County is running out all of the homeless, all the tent communities and everything, and they're spilling our way. So we're probably going to see more of this.
Anybody else have any questions? I was going to go ahead, but if you guys have anything, go ahead. All right, Curtis. I wasn't done. We were just done with that. Oh, you're good. Okay. Also, Curtis discussed the additional lighting that's been installed at the library and the science wing, and he addressed at the safety meeting how we need to add additional lighting at the bus garage and the senior parking lot and the student drop-off. Can you elaborate real quick on that?
I think we've got about all of it. Of course, the library lighting was because we'd had a gentleman that had been bothering the girls over there, and they was actually meeting them out at the car at night. So we added a few lights there for them. I think we've already done the high school and some more at the science wing. We haven't done the bus garage, but as Tim will tell you, very tricky putting in lights somewhere where you're backing in a school bus. You can't see in the mirror. I mean, they got to be up high, pointed straight down. So we may have to set some electric poles or something for that. But other than that, that's where we're at with that. We've got lights. Now, we got lights and cameras I didn't think we'd ever going to have or need. We were adding cameras every day. Every day we're adding a camera somewhere. Casey put cameras on the back of the middle school this week to watch that field out back. I know William has installed a couple new ones here to watch the senior parking lot. Just seems like we need a camera everywhere on the whole, every foot surface that we have a camera. We've got them in the staircases. And like I say, Mr. Brown, when he comes and does our evaluation, he will tell us what we're doing wrong and expect us to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what he has stated he will do.
That's one thing you can rest assured.
Yes.
That'll be a one
Now,
problem.
does he also say what other schools are doing? So not just that we're doing something wrong, but for instance, hey, some other school is trying this new technique.
No, to tell you the truth, he had actually mentioned to us at the meeting and everything that we was kind of ahead of a lot of them, actually. He was really surprised that a lot of them really wasn't doing the drills like they need to do. But yeah, he actually bragged on us and said we're actually doing better than what most is doing. Yeah. So,
But he's always been willing to share any information. You can ask Curtis if he sees
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that can be improved to answer your question.
he is.
Quick.
He's a very nice gentleman. He is to the point.
And then other than the things you just mentioned, were there any recommendations on things that we could do here to make it more safe for our students?
I don't think we'll know until he comes. Yeah.
Okay, so you plan to do a...
Yeah. He's going to do a site assessment and a threat assessment to the building. He's going to walk every building with me and tell me where we need to move cameras, if doors is open in the wrong direction, just everything, no blind spots, hallways, staircases. But yeah, that's on his agenda. He's already gave me a date that he's coming.
Mr. Bunner's here. Tim discussed with the group at the meeting also the fact that the communication service with the two-way among the school operation has improved somewhat, hasn't Tim? There's still some things that need fixed, but we're gradually trying to get it better, the communication as far as that goes. Also, we discussed the walkthrough of the school facilities for any new first responders. So we're going to schedule that in the near future. Correct, Curtis?
We use every time the fire department gets maybe 5 or 10 new members, we'll bring them in and walk them through the building so they know where to shut the water off, where to shut the power off, how to get through the buildings in case. We do that 2 or 3 times a year.
And lastly, we scheduled the next safety meeting for May 15th at 9:30. By that time, hopefully we'll have some of the things like Mr. Brown. I don't know if Mr. Brown will be before then.
I don't know if he'll attend all of our meetings or not. He's pretty busy.
But the site assessment may be done before then, correct, Curtis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone have any questions for either one of us? I thought with Curtis, the safety director, he'd be the ideal one to answer any questions you might have concerning any of this.
How often do we do walkthroughs of what you're supposed to do with the active shooter, fire? I was attended one of them, and one of the concerns was they go out through the top of it and then drop down. It's a pretty far drop. Can you come up with something? I think it was middle school when I went to.
The
Yeah.
second, third story. They
Yeah.
was asking for ladders.
Well, right, and then, just, to me, it could, I understand, but, what could we do, do we walk through things like, I know we say, but do we ever go through the process? Because, it could be some exciting.
We did every child in the middle and primary. We
Uh-huh.
showed 2 to 3 different exits. We would go down each hallway 2 different times, and if we could, we would go out the window. We took the preschoolers clear up through. They could climb out their window, we could climb out the window, take them.
Right.
And like I say, Mr. Brown will help us with whatever we need. A ladder situation.
Right.
Somebody called about netting, net that falls down from the thing, put it in there, takes up room in the
Right.
classroom. And as we know, a lot of our windows don't work very well.
Right.
Windows on the third floor of the high school, you go to one of them, it's in the yard. So, that's and if it falls back again to money. Things, money is bad part. But yeah, we have 2 active shooter drills a year, and we'll have 10 fire drills. Yeah, we're very good on fire drills.
Right.
Now we're supposed to have a
Weather-related.
weather-related flood tornado. We're supposed to have 1 or 2 of those a year now. I think you just get them somewhere with the buses and pick them up.
Reunification site.
Yeah, well, we may use the firehouse again if it's a tornado or a flood or something. If you don't want to send them home, which we got into the other day, it's safer to keep them at the school than for us to send them somewhere. But then again, we may go to the firehouse. We use the senior citizens for a little bit. It's a little closer to what we like. Same way the church across the road here is a little closer to what we really like. So we talked with Stephen a little bit, and they've got the new part of the firehouse over there. They think they can house everybody we have. Or staff, students, everybody. And again, that puts them all in one place. There's no good plan for anybody.
Right.
Bad part. A bad plan is better than no plan.
Right.
Every time we do it, we get better. We've been doing fire drills for so long. We're good on fire drills. We are. We're quick with fire drills. So, but yeah, we just need more practice. And it's hard. They like me to get one in this time of year. High school's testing, middle school's testing, primary center's testing. It's hard to get them in at the end of the school year because you can't interrupt them.
Thank you.
And Curtis brought up something real quick. He mentioned the storm the other day, just to share, that we just had to make an assessment at that time. We thought it was safest to keep the kids at the school in the walls instead of out on the buses and things like that. And also, I just wanted to reassure people, and Curtis knows this, we were constantly interacting with someone, like, for example, Stephen Settle had told us if we could keep the kids, run the bus at the normal time, because he told us that by 2:20, 2:25, all the roadways would be clear, because there were trees or something every direction you went. So that's why I just wanted to reassure everybody we were communicating with people before we made all that decision, did we, Mr. McCown? There was all that taking place. So, yep.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Curtis. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Don't want to cut them off.
I want a quick question. I'm sorry to go way back to the lighting.
Yeah.
But I know out here, right along this, it's been fairly dark. Do we have any new lighting out there?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but we do these out here, and the bad part, you've got this light and this light, where you got 2 electronic eyes, and this light turns this light off. It is. Only thing, my other alternative now is to put them on a timer.
Oh.
And a lot of these lights out in the parking lot is on a timer. They come on and come off. And if the time's off, we've got to reset it. But that's kind of what we're going to have to go to. Because if you can, you can think about it. One goes on, the other one goes off. And the time delay, and it comes on, and this one comes on, it goes off again. It's not very good planning. Maybe on my part, but but yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, last board meeting, or I think it was last board meeting, maybe one before, we talked about the incident in Calhoun County and testing and the procedures for our bus drivers. So, Mr. McCown, go ahead.
So that full policy, the Transportation Employees Alcohol and Controlled Substance Testing Policy, was put in your packet, and then Mr. Smith kind of just did a one-pager synopsis that was also in your packet. So I'll let Mr. Smith go through his synopsis of that policy, and if you have any specific questions regarding that policy, Mr. Smith can address those for you.
Yeah, and we have Tim here too, and I know Tim works with that also.
Right, and coincidentally, the way it worked out, we've got 4 people here that have been through all this experience behind me, and currently are on and off. But anyway, okay. First of all, I just summarized, without going through all that, this is in your packet, but essentially we use MedExpress for all of our pre-employment drug and alcohol tests, and this occurs in between when they get their CDL permit and when they get their initial bus operator endorsement is when that takes place for any new employees. And you guys can stop me anytime if you have any questions, or I can do it at the end, whichever is best for you all. We utilize Advantage Occupational Medicine for all our mobile drug and alcohol tests. Advantage is located in 1370 Johnson Avenue in Bridgeport, and not only does that the bus operators every day, anyone that has a CDL in our school system, for example, like we have Kurt Starcher, I don't think he'll mind me mentioning, he's a mechanic, but he doesn't have his passenger endorsement, but he's able to drive bus, just not haul kids, but he's subjected to the same testing as any of those, so, or any emergency drivers or anybody we use are subjected to that. I know this is a mouthful. Okay, the random drug and alcohol tests are scheduled. They call me via phone or email me, and I do not notify Tim until the day of when they're coming, because you don't want to give the employees, when they're coming. So Advantage will be at the bus garage when the drivers arrive normally. So sometimes they'll be there before I can even tell you they're there. You might say that they're at the bus garage, the testers. And just to reassure everyone, we more than exceed the requirement minimum random testing, 25% for CDL licensed employees for alcohol and 50% for drug testing, and they show up 4 times a year. Quarterly is what they show up for drug testing. And, of course, I'll elaborate on some more situations where you could be subjected to drug and alcohol testing in addition to that. So, in regards to drug and alcohol testing, it's spelled out like Mr. McCown said in section 4.10.3 and subsections 4.10, 3.1 through 3.3. That's spelled out in your packet. In regards to suspicious drug and alcohol testing, that is in section 410.4 through 410.4.2. And this has been a few years ago. I'd say, what would you say, Tim? Has it been probably 5, 6 years ago we took this testing to where it was suspicious? Would you say it's been that long? Okay. Tim and I both had to complete a reasonable suspicion employee evaluation for drug and alcohol use. If not just a driver, but that could also be a teacher or any other employee of the school system. If they refuse to submit to that, it's considered a positive test and could be grounds for termination. So Tim and I went through a training without going into great detail. There's a list of things to identify if we see a pattern of behavior. Of course, Mr. McCown's guidance, we can request to test or subject that person to a test if we see behavior, reoccurring behavior, or even a real erratic behavior in an isolated incident. We can request that they test. So. In regards to return to duty and follow-up testing, we follow 4.10.5 through 4.10.6. And the results and the records, this is something I think is a good thing. They started doing this recently, I'm going to say, last 4 to 5 years. I keep the results from the drug and alcohol testing filed away up here, and annually, the inspector from the WVDE comes in and inspects our books to make sure that they're doing the proper CPR, first aid testing, professional development, drug and alcohol testing. The physicals are all legit. They go through all the paperwork every year, and if there's anything it's like not major, they will tell you fix this. And there's been little things here and there that you don't catch that we have, like on a physical, like blood pressure may not meet the parameters and other things. We've never had any major findings, but they come in and audit all those books. So to reassure everybody, they make sure everybody's capable of passing physicals and have been drug tested, and there's a whole litany of things that they have them go through to continue driving. And I know that was quick, but a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions or concerns on any of that?
Questions for Mr. Smith?
Did you say physicals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They have to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One thing that was also going through my mind, and I did when I was reading over the policies, if somebody's not necessarily on controlled drugs, but over-the-counter stuff, do you have anything like if somebody's sick, do you say, you're sick, stay home? If I take 2 Benadryl, I'm not going to be able to drive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, or somebody, I don't know how to put it, but, you can be as dangerous with some of that. And it'll say right on there, do not operate with machinery.
Tim, since we had this conversation about getting it explained your experience how that works, so I don't want to say something incorrectly, but in your experience as a driver.
Yeah.
In our 4336, there's a section in the back that has a medicine list, and I've got a copy of that list at the garage in the computer I can print off. All the drivers have had access to it, and at some point have seen it in the past. Probably wouldn't hurt for them to review it. But it'll come down to give you the name of the medication. If it's a generic, it'll tell you what is the high dollar name of it, how many hours you have to have it out of your system before you drive. It even goes down to over the counter. It'll have NyQuil and DayQuil and all that on it, along with Percocets.
Right.
You wouldn't think that would need to be on it, but it is.
What I was going to call Tim up here, and you don't have to get a name, of course, but you've had this come up before where, like, there's been things that you may test positive for, but they may tell the tester ahead of time why they're taking it. Remember we had this conversation?
Yeah, if you have a positive test, nobody will know immediately that when the test comes back, Advantage has a doctor on staff that will call that person and ask them about their prescriptions. Every prescription has got an RX number on it. So they can look up that RX number and see if it's a valid prescription. Certain things you can take and still be legal to drive.
Right.
And that list is constantly changing, isn't it, Tim? What's banned substances, what isn't? That's an
Every time they change the name of something, or some new medication comes out.
Now, do we send this updated list to the drivers, or do you have it posted in the room?
No, it's not posted. I have it where I can get to it if they have any questions. Most of our drivers is very conscientious.
I mean, I imagine when we first hire them, and then we let them know.
Part of their initial,
What I'm worried about,
their initial training,
if
the
the-
40 hours classroom.
if the list changes, and something that may have been not on the list but now is, are we communicating to that driver when you get the updates?
I feel that, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in my experience, now I know this sounds awful to say this, but they said it's hard enough for medical professionals to stay on top of that list. It evolves that fast. If we catch something, we will alert them. But like something that's Tim's saying may be legal today, and 2 months from now may be illegal. So it's a constant evolving. In other words, Tim would be down there changing that list every day. I hate to say it that way, but it's that bad. I mean, would that be...
Unfortunately, it is way behind by the time the Department of Education sends it to us.
They said by the time we get a new list, it could be null and void. I hate to answer that question that way, but I'm just being honest. Yeah.
Don would jump in on the place. I'm going to ask Brett. Say a driver takes Benadryl and he's a little drowsy and everything. I just, me myself, I think that falls back on being a professional. Yes. You're a professional driver. You're employed by the board. It would be up to the driver. Jeff wouldn't know. Tim wouldn't know if they took Benadryl. That would almost be discretion of the driver.
Right.
Man up and say, hey, I'm
Yeah,
taking
well,
this.
that's why I was saying, do you say if
Yeah.
you're taking something like that, stay home?
Yeah. I just think that's just being
Yeah.
professional and doing what's right.
Right.
I don't know how we would police that.
But I can reassure you, in all my dealings, I've had drivers in the past do what Curtis has said, have made me aware that, hey, I don't feel comfortable coming in today because I'm still groggy, like you're saying, from taking med. And we do have a good group of drivers down there that they don't want to ever endanger kids, so they will always come and tell me that, in my experience, Brent. I mean,
Yeah, well, I'm not questioning the
Oh, I know,
drivers.
I know that.
I'm just saying there's just something that.
Oh, I know what you mean.
We pass and say, you know, this is necessary. If you're not feeling good, you know, we want you to stay.
Right. Well, of course, that goes into the employee code of conduct
Right.
without getting into all that.
Right,
But
right,
yeah,
right.
that's part of that,
Right.
you know, not putting dead kids in danger and
Right.
so on and so forth. But
In the slide that you showed, it said that you'd be informed. So are you not the one that says when they do who says when they do those random tests?
when they're available to come test, they either email me or call me, and they'll give me dates and say, are any of these dates good for us to come? And I'm the only one that knows that.
Okay, so it's the testing company lets you know which random dates they can get out.
Correct. And then Tim and I, from day one, I do not ever tell Tim till the day of, do I, Tim? Because I don't want to put anybody in that situation. So.
And then it also said 25% for
Alcohol.
For alcohol, and then 50% for
Drugs.
these other lists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when they do the test, do they not do the drug and alcohol and the others at the same time?
Yeah, they do them simultaneously. They'll send me a list and say, so many are doing alcohol, so many are doing drug, and then the drug test, and then here's the alternatives if they're not, like the alternates, if they're not available to test that day, if that makes sense.
Okay. And then does that company also do the randomization on who's getting tested?
Yeah, they do that. We have no...
So you would, or Ted would get the list and say, today for testing it's going to be, and that company tells you who is going to be tested.
Correct. From the list I give them annually. And if it changes, I update it and give them the new updated list. And like you said, they randomize it, tell me, and they tell me who's coming, and nobody else in the school system knows other than me, and then I tell Tim the day of, if that makes sense. So then there's confidentiality, nobody knows nobody has any preconceived what's going on, you might say. I mean, I don't even do I, Mr. McCown? I don't even tell Mr. McCown. I just do that.
I mean, good. Because,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, now I'll tell him after the fact, of course, but you know. Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Any other questions? Thank you.
Huh? Thanks.
Very informative.
Thanks.
Okay, we're down to delegations, and we do not have any delegations tonight, so we're down to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the March 21st, 2024 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Any corrections, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve the March 21st, 2024 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Finance, need a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $52,952.06.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
Okay, we have 3 runs of expenditures for your consideration this evening. The first on 3/26/2024, totaling $29,975.74. Noteworthy in this is mainly utility bills. The next run on 4/3/2024, totaling $2,091.37. This is PEIA billing for retiree health insurance. And then the final run also on 4/3/2024 in the amount of $20,884.95. Noteworthy on this, we have Ellison Dozer Service for $5,065.15 to repair the sewer line in front of the BOE and sand for the ball fields. All of these expenditures total $52,952.06.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $52,952.06. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now we're to budget supplements. Need a motion to approve budget supplements. That's a negative, isn't it? A negative budget supplement in the amount of $80,853. I have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
Yeah, parentheses are bad when it comes to budget supplements. So, yeah, this is a negative $80,853, a reduction in the state PEIA allocation.
Can you explain that a little bit, Karen?
So the state initially actually, whenever they estimated, they overestimated the rates. And so whenever we did our October counts, where we turn in our number of personnel, and they actually had the final rates at that point in time, just about everybody in the entire state got a decrease as a result of their
Okay.
over.
So it was extra money they sent us that we didn't deserve.
Yeah, it was,
Okay.
yeah. So it hasn't physically been sent to us yet. That's why I got to take it back out of the budget, but they're shorting us now April, May, and June.
Okay.
It's allocations that were going to come to us by $80,000. So I'm taking it back out of the budget so we don't overspend.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve a negative budget supplement in the amount of $80,853. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And no budget transfers tonight, so need a motion to approve the West Virginia School Board Association FY25 membership subscription fee, $2,284. Any questions?
Why is that one not in the packet under the supplements?
I'm sorry, Mr. I can't hear you.
So I'm seeing it on the agenda, but I'm not seeing it in the.
So that is a separate invoice. It was in your packet just for this item if the
Yeah.
board wants to renew their membership to the association.
So it was pulled out separately than the others?
Yeah. The invoice is in there.
Several years ago, there was a discussion about, Mark knows what I'm talking about. Several years ago, there was a discussion about not being, or not joining them for the money. And, so at that point in time, it was pulled out and done separate. So the board can decide if they want to do that or not.
They invoice now for that, but since it's for FY25, if you approve it, I'm not going to submit it for payment till July 1 out of next fiscal year's money, because it is for FY25.
So last year's was already,
Yeah,
current
I've already,
year was already paid.
yeah, I paid it in July.
Okay.
So we won't pay this until July 1. They've got it due on July 1.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve the membership subscription fee of $2,284 for the West Virginia School Board Association for fiscal year 2025. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to routine business personnel under employment. Need a motion to employ Herb Tony as assistant football coach, Warwick County Middle School, effective immediately.
So moved.
Any questions? Mr. McKellen,
His
anything?
application was in your packet. He has been our longtime middle school wrestling coach and happy that he's willing to help out with football as well.
Yeah, I think he's done football before, too. Years ago, I was thinking, that he was also football coach at one time. Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Herb Tony as assistant football coach, Warwick County Middle School, effective immediately. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And need a motion to approve Marie Hedges as school counselor for Warwick County Primary Center, effective for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So I will just say I'm happy that we're filling some primary center vacancies. I think some surrounding counties have had some RIF and transfers, and we're picking up and filling some vacancies. So happy to bring this name to you this evening. I think she's an experienced counselor with many years of experience as a counselor.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Maria Hedges as school counselor for Warwick County Primary Center, effective for the 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, need a motion to approve Stephanie Halstead, first grade teacher, Warwick County Primary Center, effective for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
Again, a RIF in a surrounding county is benefiting us. Happy to bring, she has worked for us before.
Yes, she
Happy
has.
to bring her name back to you for your consideration tonight.
She just needs to stay this time, you know.
Stay this time,
Huh?
absolutely.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Stephanie Halstead as first grade teacher, Warwick County Primary Center effective for 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Number 4, need a motion to approve Callie Darty as Technology Integration Specialist for Warwick County Middle School effective for the 24-25 school year. Mr. McCown.
Callie does a wonderful job for us at the TIS, and I'm sure that the high school is going to be missing her, and I'm sure the middle school is going to be very tickled to get her.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any questions? Have a motion to approve Callie Darty as Technology Integration Specialist for Warwick County Middle School effective for the 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we need a motion to approve Callie Darty again as Technology Coordinator, Warwick County Middle School, for effective for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Questions? Mr. McCown.
So just to remind you, there's an extracurricular contract that goes with TIS for the work that they do that's outside of the regular contractual day, and that is what this is. That Callie is the successful bidder on that extracurricular contract as well.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Callie Darty as Technology Coordinator, Warwick County Middle School, effective for the 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Number 6, need a motion to approve Michelle Strimmel, Special Education Teacher, itinerant, effective for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Mr. McAllen.
So again, her application is in your packet, an experienced teacher from a surrounding county, again, but happy to bring her name to you for your consideration.
Absolutely. A certified special ed person.
Yes, indeed.
That's a rarity. Yep. Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Michelle Schrimmel as Special Education Teacher, itinerant, effective for 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, number 7, 8, and 9 will come back to us at a later date. Under new business, we need a motion for I-06 promotion, retention, and graduation requirements policy. That's a repeal and replace. Do I have a motion? Mr. McCown.
So as Carla Brown has been here and spoken on a couple different occasions about these policies, just to refresh your memory, she has basically replaced this, and in doing so has also included the dual and college credit policy within this. So the next item is to repeal that, because when she redid this, she included that in this new policy, so that there's not going to be a separate dual and college credit policy. This new policy will encompass both.
It's good business. Any
This
questions?
was the one that had so many changes that came from the state. It was just easier to start
So she started
over.
to go back and revise it,
That-
and
okay.
then she came over and with a bunch of red highlights said it might be easier just to repeal and replace the whole.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but
Any other questions? Here none, we have a motion on policy I-06, promotion, retention, graduation requirements policy, and it's a repeal and replace. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now we need a motion to repeal policy 1-10, dual and college credit policy.
So moved.
Mr. McCown, I think you already hit it.
Yeah, as I just discussed, she included this policy in the previous policy that you just approved, so there's no need for that separate policy anymore.
Any questions?
I'd like to say one thing about it. I think
Okay.
it's very good that kids get to do this, and, some of them have several hours before they get in. And one guy reason, I guess, because it's so popular and talked about is one of the you basketball players, sophomore, just finished his master's.
Yeah.
Now, think about that. 2 years in college and he finished his master's.
Yeah, this Warwick County's board has been ahead of this curve.
Right.
And they really have been, because we have paid for college courses for our students for probably 25 years now, when nobody else was even thinking about doing that, through WVUP, Glenville, wherever that we, through our levy and through those monies that we paid for college courses for students. And I can tell you, of course, my son's been out of school a long time, but when he started at Glenville, I mean, he was already a sophomore. He had taken enough courses to be a sophomore. And your son might have even been.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
thing.
and so it's a good deal. Good deal. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the repeal of 1-10 dual and college credit policy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to reduction in force and transfer. I'm going to take each one of these separately, although they might look the same because there's a different name attached to each one, okay? Just to say before, all employees that are either on the reduction in force or transfer did receive letters and did have the chance to request a hearing in front of the board. And to my knowledge, nobody asked for a hearing. So that's why we're at where we're at now. Okay, so the first one is reduction in force of a cook, and that name for that reduction is Roberta Taylor. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any, Mr. McCollum?
So, yeah, just to reiterate, all of the employees that are getting RIFT received a letter, had an opportunity to request a hearing at today's board meeting. None of them requested that. And just to summarize for the board, we have been having ESSER money, and we've had some positions funded solely with that. A portion of that is those funds are going away. A portion of this is a McKinney-Vento grant was ending, so we had to, not knowing if we're going to get that grant again, we had to RIF those positions. And then finally, with the number of meals being served and the number of students eating, required a reduction in a cook at each school, and the least senior in each of those areas is the person that gets RIF'd. So we had two cook positions RIF'd, one aide position RIF'd, and then one cook transfer, and then some extracurricular contracts that were RIF'd. So again, all of those folks had the opportunity for a hearing before you. None of them requested it. And so I did include a copy of the letter that each employee was served. It went out certified mail and hand-delivered to show that we have done our due. We have given due process to each of these employees.
Okay, did I get a motion on that first one?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Any questions?
Yeah, when did the letters go out?
Letters went out in February.
February 23rd.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to accept the reduction in force of one cook, and the name for that is Roberta Taylor. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we have number 2 is reduction in force of a cook, and the name for that position is Nora Kelly. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Here, I'm sorry. You're having trouble hearing me? Okay, we'll do better. Up here to me, it's really, but I have my hearing aids turned up. I'm sorry, Mr. Armstrong, we'll do better. Okay, need a for reduction in force, one cook, name is Nora Kelly. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Did I already have that?
You already had that one.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, was it you?
It was Mark.
No, it
It
was
was
Mark.
Mr. Lowe.
Okay, we're going to go
I
back
know
to
it was
Mark,
my
okay? Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion for reduction in force of a cook, Nora Kelly. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Mr. Armstrong just totally threw me off, okay?
You did.
Okay, number 3, Need a motion for reduction force of one aide. The name is Samantha Delaney.
So moved.
Mr. Armstrong, after we're done here, we can give you these names if you miss them, okay? Yeah. Okay, we have a motion. Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion for reduction force one aide. The name for that is Samantha Delaney. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, number 4. Need a motion for a transfer of a cook from high school to primary middle school. The name of that person is Robin Hardbarger.
So
Questions? I'm sorry.
So moved.
Questions? Hearing none, we have a motion for the transfer of one cook from the high school to primary, and that person is Robin Hardbarger. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we need a motion for a temporary part-time contract for McKinney Vento service worker, and that's a reduction in force, and the name in that is Jackie Bunch. Do I have a motion? Questions? These are the ones Mr. McCallum was talking about from the grant that hopefully will come back if the grant comes back. Okay, we have a motion to approve the reduction in force for a temporary part-time contract for McKinney Vento school service worker, and that name is Jackie Bunch. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, need a motion to approve the reduction in force of extracurricular contract for Worth County Primary Center McKinney Vento Service Coordinator, and the name in that contract is D. Hardbarger. So I have a motion.
So moved.
Any questions? Hear none, we have a motion to approve the reduction in force of the extracurricular contract Worth County Primary Center for McKinney Vento Service Coordinator, and that name is D. Hardbarger. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Number 7. Need a motion to approve the reduction in force of the extracurricular contract for Worth County Middle School, McKinney Vento Service Coordinator, and the name in that is Elizabeth Dotson. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Hear none, we have a motion to approve the reduction in force of a contract for extracurricular Worth County Middle School, McKinney Vento Service Coordinator, and the name is Elizabeth Dotson. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, number 8. Need a motion to approve the reduction in force for extracurricular contract, Worth County High School McKinney Vento Service Coordinator. The name of that contract is Elizabeth Smith. Do I have a motion? Questions? Hearing none, we have a motion for the contract of McKinney Vento Service Coordinator reduction in force for Elizabeth Smith, and that is at the high school. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I about said hi. Okay. Number 9. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there, okay? Okay, need a motion to improve the reduction force of the extracurricular contract for teacher for parent education to PERC and transition specialist for Worth County Primary Center, Worth County Middle School, and that name is Ashley Guneau. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to approve the reduction in force for the extracurricular contract teacher for parent education, PERC and transition specialist for Worth County Primary Center, Worth County Middle School, and the name in that contract is Ashley Guneau. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you for bearing with me. It's never a fun time when you're taking jobs or pay away from people. It's serious business. That's how they support their families. Okay, we're down to number 3. I need a motion to approve the 2024 Senior Netbook Program proposal.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So this is something that the high school tech folks, William and Callie, have done in the past. I think it's a very good opportunity for our graduating seniors. We have a cycle of netbooks that the students have used for the past several years, and we give them the opportunity to purchase one of those for the rock bottom price of $1. And as was stated in the proposal, those that aren't purchases get recycled for spare parts and things of that nature. But I think this is a good thing that the board has done in the past to give graduating seniors an opportunity to have a computer to take with them for the future endeavors. So.
Okay. Any question? William, I should know this. Are these the actual ones that the seniors are using, or is this sort of a conglomerate of ones that are just around?
So they get to keep the original netbook.
Okay.
So
it's
if they received a Gear Up netbook, they'll still go back to their original netbook that we put back on the shelf when we gave them a Gear Up netbook. So they'll get their original one. If we don't have one, their original one available, and there's still some extras available, and they want to buy them, they can buy them. Still, so.
It's a neat program. I appreciate you and Callie taking the extra work to do this. Any other questions? Here none, we have a motion to approve the 2024 Senior Netbook Program proposal. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar. Mr. McCown.
So at our 2 meetings, we started out with 4, we've whittled it down to 2, and then at the last vote of staff, the tally is in your packet. Calendar A had 71 votes, calendar D 59. Also in your packet, I included every comment that was made by everyone who wanted to make a comment, positive, negative, or indifferent. We had calendars are cool. I miss you guys a lot, former student. Which is kind of interesting. But if you took the time to look at the comments, if they were for calendar D, most of those comments were revolving around the semester ending before Christmas break. And if they had a comment that was anti-calendar A, it was because they had the long Christmas break and the semester didn't end until after that. So in looking at the original proposal of calendar A and kind of a compromise to some of those comments, Mrs. Brown has adjusted the day of the first semester ending on calendar A, which one to make the final day of semester 1 December 20th, which is before Christmas break. So it will appease, and I think this is primarily high school teachers that had that concern, and being a former high school teacher, I understand that concern completely. But this would alleviate that, and then it would not change any school days or work days for any of the staff that voted for calendar A, but it would make the high school teachers happy that the semester is going to end before Christmas break.
And it falls within
And
the
it falls
guidelines.
within the timelines and rules set forth by the state.
Questions?
Well, there was a couple of the comments that put a very strong argument for calendar D, talking about the improvement to the student's education by going with that calendar. Some of it, like you mentioned, with ending the semester before Christmas break, but also with wasted days before the standardized tests. So
I think all of the standardized tests are going to take place within this time frame here, that spring break will be over with. So I didn't really understand that, because all of the standardized testing take place in the same time frame. We get a window, we schedule those things. So I don't know that an additional 2 days of Christmas break or spring break being a week or two variance is going to affect standardized testing at all.
Any other questions, comments? Hear none. We have a motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
Wait. Which, I mean, you said.
Calendar A with the change.
The motion should be calendar A with the change, not to approve the calendar.
It's the calendar
It's
that,
the calendar.
that was in your packet for you to vote on this evening.
Yeah, that calendar will never come out with calendar A. From this point forward, it won't say calendar A. It's
So,
just our school
and that
calendar.
calendar is calendar A that was brought to you in all of these meetings with the aforementioned changing of the end of the first semester.
Yeah, it's the one that was presented in the packet. It's the one we voted on. Yeah. Okay, need a motion for an open enrollment for 24-25 school year. It's one student from Wood to Work.
So moved.
She'd beat me.
We'll go with Randa. We'll go with Mrs. Yoke. Mr. McCown, anything we need to know?
Your application was in your packet. Hope to get a whole lot more of them by October next year.
Any questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve the open enrollment for one student from Wood to Work for 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to board concerns, and we'll start with Mrs. Yoke.
I am good.
Okay. Mr. Sherlock. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Stewart?
I've got one, and I really appreciate it, and I really like to do what we're doing with recognizing students and service personnel and teachers. But what worries me some is some of the ones we may have missed that might be just as, outstanding. Is there any way as a board that we may know when this comes, that we can recognize these people? Maybe somebody really did outstanding in math, in math competition, or I'm just using that as an example. Sure. It'd be nice to know ahead of time, but I don't know if that'd be from the administrators to you, or how that would work, but it would, anybody that needs recognized, I think us as a board needs to be doing it.
Yeah, I think we do a good job, but I'm with you, Mr. Stewart. I think there's probably some students, it seems like especially on the elementary level. It seems like we get high school and middle school kids in, but a lot of times we miss those elementary kids. So I don't know, Mr. McCown, if something you could do with, I know the principals have everything they need to do, okay, but principals, counselors, LSIC, faculty senate, somewhere that maybe we can get everybody, because it's frankly, it's the good part of the board meeting, okay, is when we got kids in and yeah. So, I think we do a good job, but it'd be nice if we did a great job. Yeah. Is that what you were thinking, Mr. Stewart?
That's
Okay.
Exactly.
Mr. Lowe? Okay. I got a thing about a training that the School Board Association is going to do dealing with meetings and, sunshine law, that type of stuff from the School Board Association, of something they might be interested in. And also, Mr. Brown called and asked me if I would serve on the training committee that comes up with the hours. And I agreed to do that. I think it'll be nice to have our say in that. Okay, it's a small county. Sometimes bigger counties get a bigger say in what we do. So I'm going to serve on that committee. And the tornado, Mr. McCown, can you give us like 2 or 3 minutes about how that went.
Sure. So we knew that some potential weather was going to come through, so we all were watching for that, and learned some interesting things that day. One is that depending on what cell phone and cell service you have, you might get the alert before somebody else gets the alert. So, and that happened to us. So to fix that in the future, we have created a group text with various people in the county on there so that if one of us gets a warning or a watch, we can share out and quickly communicate what we need to do. So when we got word that there was a tornado warning, which means rotation is happening within that storm cell and they've got a projected path, we did follow our safety plan and shelter the students in interior hallways away from windows until that was cleared to do so. After that, we knew that there was another potential batch of weather coming, but as Mr. Smith alluded to earlier, speaking with the fire department and some others, there were trees down in roads. So if we'd have tried to do an early dismissal on that day, and my wife was one of the foremost saying, this other batch of weather is coming. And so, but if we'd have sent them out and did a 2-hour early dismissal, they'd have been sitting there on the bus, stuck on the road while they're still clearing trees. So I appreciate particularly Kevin Settle at the fire department being able to share information with us on what roads were open, what roads were still closed, and appreciate everybody's diligence in that with keeping everybody safe. And we got to check off one of those tornado drills on that checklist that Mr. Moore was talking about earlier. So appreciate everybody's vigilance on that day. That was more excitement than I like to see in the course of the day.
And I noticed that your principals were posting out, electric's off at the high school, everybody's fine, we have no telephones, and that was going out.
And it was interesting because only one phase was out, and I think all of the buildings have 3 phases going in, so some lights were affected and some things were affected, but for the most part, sections of all of the buildings had power, and so the principals did do a good job of communicating things out with parents that folks were fine. If I was knew a tornado was bearing down, these buildings would be one of the buildings in the county that I'd probably like to be in the most. We were contemplating at the board office, do we need to make a break for the high school and get drenched, or do we wait and see what happens? And thankfully, it passed us by. But appreciates everybody's diligence on that day and the job that they did.
Yes.
Can I say something? I just, Donald, this probably goes towards Jeff. Do we have anything in place when he was talking about the roads being blocked? And where the Newark Road was blocked, there was a fireman there, and I went and was talking to them. Well, that particular time, there was 15 blocks. I'm not saying different roads, but if kids, I was starting to worry, will the kids be able to get home? And he said, well, right now 53 is open, but that's right now. And while I was there talking to him, another one came, and it was 16. What do we do? Do we have places when the roads can't get through with the kids here? Do we have places to keep them
here?
We would keep them here.
We've done it before.
Yeah. I mean, after school hours.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. This would be one of the areas where we probably need to reunify, and maybe other people would even want to come here, but
Right.
depending on the severity of the storm, like Mr. McGowan said, it's one of the safest places, and we'd probably return him within a year. But Tim and I have been through this in a lot of instances, not always. Like you said, going 53 instead of Newark and different routes. We've had to run like the route out Windy Ridge for the tree away. We've had to run it in different directions. So we do have alternative plans on most of the routes that they come. Like you said, 753
Keep them all night, feed them and,
Down our church would always be open in case of emergency where, I mean, water would be high, and lots of stuff over there.
Appreciate
Doors
it.
always open for you.
Appreciate it.
I mean, we've done it, well, we did it during the storm.
Yeah.
And done it in the past, and the water was high, so we'll play and be there.
okay, anything else?
Yeah, I've got just a few quick things. It is end of the year, which means we're all going to have carpal tunnel syndrome from signing all of these things. But the academic achievement certificates, Randa has got the stack. I think she's going to bring them back in. And then I think I can get a hold of Brent to come, and we'll just try to get them as soon as possible so it's not last minute and we're all frantically signing stuff. And then I'm going to prepare an email for all of you that's got all of the end of the year stuff for all three schools. It's a busy time with lots going on. But particularly, I know you all attend the award ceremonies at the schools and things if you can, but I'll be putting that together for you and make you aware of those dates. And then finally, we are finding ourselves in a bit of a pickle. Our school psychologist that we have contracted with him for services and have for several years has fallen ill and is in the hospital. And it has put us behind the A-ball with some testing and psychological testing that we need to get done. And there's timeline constraints, and we're getting right up on it that we're going to be out of compliance. So Carla has been frantically beating the bushes and working the phones to come up with somebody to provide that service. I think she has found somebody. I am going to have that on the agenda Thursday that goes out, and then for you to approve at the board meeting Tuesday next week. But I'm going to ask the board that when you see who that is Thursday and we approve it Tuesday, that we backdate the effective date to Monday so that those folks can start. We're going to be out of compliance on some kids if we don't get some of that testing done with about 2 or 3 kids if we do not get that done next week. So that, I just wanted to make you aware of that situation. I think we do have a solution, but we're right up against it with timelines with a handful of kids.
That's why we have you doing what you do, Mr. McCallum, and then we will approve it when it gets to us there. It's an emergency thing. Okay, so the next regular meeting is April the 16th, 2024, Ward County High School Cafeteria, 6 o'clock, which is next Tuesday. So, Mr. Stewart, call me.
And it is one of those codified things where we're going to reconvene the levy rates and do all of that.
That will be in replace of the one that's 23rd.
Right. Okay, so at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.